So the topic that we have to understand is demand and supply analysis of forestry product, and it is the continuation of the two sessions that has been conducted on the basics of demand and supply analysis, right? So let's understand the facts here. So first these things need to understand what the forestry, because we are talking about the forestry product. So what kind of the need or the product that you are able to, and the product that is going to satisfy what kind of need, that is important here to understand, because through the product the purpose is that we have to meet the demand and supply, and through the demand and supply what the things has to be done, we have to fulfill the needs or the, if any, desire, any wants, if any there. So there are three sets of need that is has to be fulfilled. Ecological security, as I told, ecological security basically is related to the ecosystem services, that this is one of the need, right? We need oxygen, we need a facility to carbon sequestration, we need tree creation, we need several other kind of ecological services like water supply system, we need certain mechanism to curtail down the soil erosion, all these things, these are the ecological or ecosystem services we have. So this is also one of the product, right? So and through this we are able to get this needs, to fulfill this needs, ecological security, isn't it? Ecological security, this is one of the need, and that is also has to be fulfilled from the forestry product. So that forestry product that is going to fulfill all these ecological security needs is known as ecosystem services, right? And this is basically the intangible form. It means it is not in a physical form. For I give you the example, oxygen, you are getting oxygen from the forest, it is also on the product, but that is not is in a physical form. But through this ecological security has been balanced. Then to maintain the microclimate of certain area, this also this is also one of the services that is provided by the forest itself, and through this again this ecological security, one of the need has been fulfilled there. And you can have several examples, you can add it here, because through the forest we are getting recreation, then biodiversity conservation, gene pool, then you can have as I tell you several examples with that wildlife conservation, all these things can be added there. So these are all the product that you are getting, and the purpose is to meet this ecological security, right? Then after that, obviously fuel, fodder and other domestic needs of the population. So generally either people, those who are tribals that is residing in the forest area, or the population that is nearby the forest area, in the vicinity of the forest area, right? So most of the resource that they are required for their daily livelihood is fuel, fodder and other domestic needs of the and generally they are totally depend upon that. So and this is the product in a physical form. They are getting leaf, they are getting small branches, then some fruits they are able to get there. So through this they are able to fulfill their not domestic needs, also they are getting fuel and fodder for their livelihood there, right? And this is another set of needs that need to be fulfilled. Wood based small and large scale industries, that we all have already know that, isn't it? We all know that all, if all this, whether you need a furniture or even any plywood, even the paper, pulp, so whatever be the product that you are or the finished product that you are getting from the industry, whether the small or large scale, right, which also need certain raw material from the forest itself. So that's why this forestry has to fulfill all three sets of needs here, right, through the product or the goods or services, you can say that, or the product or services that you are drawing from the forest itself. Ecological security, fuel, fodder and the domestic needs of the population, and the needs of the wood based small and large scale industries, right? And that's why we can add this line here, that this forest provide inputs to agriculture system, also generate marketable products, harbor biodiversity and provide environmental services such as carbon sequestration, right? So we can add this line to understand all these three needs that has been fulfilled by the product that we are getting here, right? It means forest also provide you certain support system to the agriculture system, isn't it? As people always know, the agroforestry practices that has been conducted nowadays, and then it's become a wind break or the shelter shelter kind of system that has been provided through the forest, or also, as I told you, amelioration of the microclimate or the local climatic conditions that need to be also controlled by the forest itself, right? So it is also going to provide certain support to the agricultural system, obviously generate marketable products. So marketable products, you know that they have shrubs, herbs, that is NTFP, NWFP, then timber, we can say that, and then some sort of grasses, isn't it? So marketable products are also there. Harbor biodiversity, that you can easily understand the different kind of plant, and then we have wildlife and some other things that is there, and this ecosystem services. One example is carbon sequestration. Apart from that, several ecosystem services I have explained to you, right? So through the forestry product, these three set of needs has to be fulfilled. It means whatever the demand and supply system has to be work here. The demand and supply has to be there to fulfill all three set of needs here. Is it clear? Is this concept of this slide is clear to all of you? Fine. Now, and since we have to do the analysis, right, we have to do the research work, all these to fulfill all those set of needs. So for doing that, right, we need a time series data of demand and supply of both major forest product and net national income and forest investment, because we have to fulfill all those major needs that has been already explained to you. So how to understand what the basic demand is there and how the supply channel will be there and what is the supply. So we have an objective is clear there, and since we have to evaluation has to be made quantitatively, it means in the numbers we have certain figures to do that. It's not qualitative, we are talking about the quantity there. So that's why we require this time series data. What we require? Time series data. So first we need to understand what is time series data here. In the statistics you have already studied that time series, as the name suggests, time, because the time is there and series is there. Series means we have certain intervals or the space, or you can also say that chronologically ordered, that is series. And if talk about the time means over certain intervals, you can say that, right, certain intervals, that is time series data. Listen carefully again, what if you have a simple meaning for the time series data. So you can say that it is a collection of quantity that are assembled over certain intervals, right, and you have to order it chronologically. Listen carefully again, what the meaning of this time series data. So I as told you, since it's the data, it means we have to have certain collection of observations. So we have to collect it here. So we have to collection of quantities, and then we have to assemble it. How to assemble it? Over certain time intervals, and generally the equally spaced interval is there. It means every year or every 6 months, every 3 months, every 2 years, so equally spaced interval is there. And then after that we have to order it chronologically. Chronologically, you all know that, right, according to the time. So we need this time series data. It means suppose you have to make analysis, and then we at least require, for example, 10 years data. We have to start from 2000, then 2001, 2002, and so on till 20. So we have a 20 years data will get there. That is time series data. It means for the every year we have to collect the information or the you can say the certain observations related to the demand and supply here, right? That is time series data of demand and supply. And what the data that need to be collected? So first we have to collect the major forest products. Major forest products, you know, the timber, even you can include the NWFP, NTFP also. Then net national income, net national income. So now we need to understand what is net national income. So before first you understand what is national income, right? So national income is basically it is a total amount of money earned within a country, right? That is the meaning of national income. Listen carefully and try to understand. It is a total amount of money earned within a country. We are talking about the within a country. That's why the term national is there. That is national income. Now you talk about the net national income. Net means whatever the expense or what the other uh, other kind of payment that has to be, that need to be excluded, right? Income means what you have earned, that but after earn you have to also pay something, isn't it? Take example of yours. For example, you are doing jobs, you have to uh, earn something, then you have to pay interest, then you have to pay certain kind of taxes. So after the whatever the amount that has been given, that is called net national income. Is it clear? So the data that is required is first measure forest product data, then we require this net national income, and then we require this forest investment. So here the things that you one need to understand, what is investment. Forest, you have to understand that it means all the investment related to the forest or the forestry product. Now the question is there, what do you mean by investment? So basically, as I explained to you several times, investment means if you talk about, you are allocating some resource, and generally the resource here is, if you talk about the term investment, then the resource here is money. It means you are allocating money, right, into some kind of production channel, right, and the purpose is to generate an income or in a profit in certain time frame, right? Okay, so as I explained you forest investment, so it means investment into the forest, you can say that the forest as a capital have to use here. So what the meaning of investment that I am going to explain you. The investment means you are allocating some of your resource, and generally the resource here is money. It means you are allocating money, right, and the purpose for allocating money in something is that you have expectation to generate either the income or certain revenue or the profit. So that is forest investment. So whenever you talk about the analysis of demand and supply, so we need this data, right, and the data was be read as per the time, is the time series data, right? What the data we required? Major forest product, net national income, and forest investment. So as I discussed with you, what the data that is required, and that is that data should be time series data, we need that, and what for the demand and supply of major forest product, the data we need, net national income and the forest investment. So at least we should have these three set of data, so that we can analyze the or we can assess the situation of demand and supply of forestry product itself, right? So now we'll move this. So now we need to understand what is demand here and what is supply here. So demand refers to the total production plus import minus export, right? It means demand as represent total production, whatever with the forest product that is available in a certain time period, total production plus import if some amount that has been coming from the other country, and then what you are exporting, right? So that is demand. So you need to understand this concept also. Demand refers to the total production plus import minus export, right? And similarly for the supply refers to the total production. So here demand refers to total production, means what the supply is there, and the supply you have to make addition of import, whatever be the quantity of forestry product coming from other countries to the India, and then what you are sending to the other country, that need to be minus, that is demand, and then we have a supply. So demand refers to the total production plus import minus export, and similarly the supply refers to the total production only, and here obviously measured in a physical unit. So what were the units designated, standard units are there. For example, generally the timber where volume has been calculated in the cubic feet, and so we have to use that physical unit, right? And then all the standard procedure has to be there while we're talking about the demand and supply, right? Then from here we get the data. So this data we require that So you will get the data yearbook of forest product. As I told you, we try to get all this yearbook, then we can compile the data as per our own requirement. Then we need this data, net national income at current prices, net national income at current prices. So as I explained what is national income, so let me make you this concept also clear. Net national income at the current price means the meaning of this is the money value. Try to understand. It means all the valuation has been done in the monetary term, right? Whatever is the final goods and services produced by the normal residents of a country in a year. Try to understand, because this is a technical term, so there is some technical word has to be included here. So this net national income at current prices means it is the money value of final goods and services produced by the normal residents. Listen carefully. The normal residents of a country in a year, measured at the price of current year. Measured at the price of current year. So here one more term is coming to the normal resident. So who is normal resident? So any ordinary resident who is residing in the country and his all economic interest lies in the country itself. So that is called normal resident. And the net national income at the current price means it is the money value of final goods and services produced by the normal resident of the country in a year, measured at the price of the current year. And since it is net, so you have to minus whatever be the liability, if any, there. Is it clear? And then forest investment, that I have already explained to you. It means you are allocating certain capital or certain amount of money, right, for the growth and development of forest here itself. So we need to have a data of all three component here. Is it clear up to this point? I think everything is audible properly and it is clear to all of you. Okay, then we are moving to the next thing. Now we are talking about all this demand and supply thing. It means the requirement and harvesting, removal, everything. So it is there. So we need an analysis, right? And you can easily understand that there is one example has been included here in this note, that we need an analysis for first over a long period of time, because we have already talked that we need a data of time series data we require. So long period of time is necessary, right, so that we can understand at least one component. Example I have taken that to project the forest carbon removal from or the storage in the forest here, right. It means what the things that we need to understand through this note is there. Okay, since see the thing that is marketable, we can easily assess that the number, the volume of timber that we are getting there, or any kind of the weight of the NWFV, NTFP, because the things is marketable, the things will be very simple. Now we talk about the something that is not marketable, right. So that's why the concept or the understanding of demand and supply is important here, isn't it, right? Because one example is that is written over there, carbon removal is there, because if we all know that the tree has to store the carbon sequestration process is there. So when you are going to fail the tree, obviously you are carrying the carbon also with you, isn't it? I think nowadays you people already heard in a certain kind of advertisement that the furniture or something that has been made of those wood where there is no carbon at all, right. Is it clear? So here there is one example that has been there. To understand this aspect also, here we have to understand this this ecological aspect also there, so that we can understand the future projection of demand and supply of wood, right. Or if any product we are talking about, if there is one example of wood, but we can also add that some other forestry product. And generally this analysis or the future projection is related to the geographically disaggregated, for it means different area. We have different areas their own requirement, different areas their own establishment. So on the basis of that, the future projection has to be made there, and whenever this future projection of demand and supply has to be made there, so here we also have to analyze the situation, right, whether there is an impact of some ecosystem services or not there, because unless or until you are unable to understand the ecosystem services, the demand and supply analysis cannot be processed properly, right. And then there is a very simple understanding that I have already explained you during during that particular lecture of demand and supply, that fuel wood is a derived demand, or whatever be the timber, you can talk about the timber, or generally the forestry product is a derived demand, isn't it? Because if you need a furniture, then we need a timber. If there is no need of furniture, there is no need of timber, isn't it? So most of the product is, you can call this a derived demand, right. It is depend upon some autonomous demand here, there. Is it clear? So so that's why this is derived demand. And you, this one example again, it is a derived demand for energy itself. It means if you have, you need certain kind of fuel thing, and if you have to make a cooking or something like that, so you can substitute it. Nowadays, despite there is a gas, LPG and some other energy sources are available there, but we can have a one fuel would also act as a source of energy for the you can say the tribals or the locals that are residing nearby the forest area. But it is a derived one, because you need energy, that's why you need a fuel wood. If you don't need energy, you don't need a fuel wood. And similarly, whatever the forest product, that we need medicine, that's why looking for certain kind of NWFP, NTFP from the forest, isn't it? We need oxygen, so for the oxygen we need a forest. So whatever be the thing that we are drawing from the forest, it's totally a derived demand, because there is some autonomous demand is there, and the basis of that derived demand is available there. And obviously this demand is depend upon all these things. What is the price of the other substitute that is available there? On the basis of that, right, income of household and their preferences, isn't it? So you need to understand here also there ki the demand is totally depend upon the substitutes, right. If you are replacing, for example, the fuel wood you are using, you are gathering all this kind of small branches or this something for the fuel wood, and also there is LPG. So now you can substitute that source of energy with the LPG, but here there is one restriction is there, you have to compare the prices also there, isn't it? The price, their impact, so the price component has to be included here also there. So if a person who is using all this fuel wood free of cost, then they are not supposed to turn immediately to any kind of LPG there, isn't it? Then we can substitute this iron and plastic for timber. The income of household is also required there, and their preferences, what they require. Their preference means their taste, their priorities. So on the basis of that, on the basis of the household can create a demand for forestry product there itself, right. So okay, so demand, the concept of demand, or the what the demand is there, that has been discussed. Now is the supply. From where we get the supply, isn't it? It means production, the center of production, the production centers we're talking about. So here you understand that we get the one for the existing forest and other from the deforestation. We can get the supply of forestry product, what is the forest that is available there. Through this we have a forestry product, or through the deforestation we'll get that. And apart from that, there is some other kind of forest that is also working nowadays, that people already studied and understand that. Community forest, isn't it? JFM we have, joint forest management, through which the forest has been developed in the area where there is no forest. You can say the rural areas, or in the villages, or or you can say that we are developing the forest now in agricultural fields. So community forest, whether it is a joint forest management, then leasehold forest also there, it means we can say the leasehold means generally the privately owned forest, we can say that, or certain part of forest that has been assigned to the private party for management. Then government managed forest. So in Indian condition, generally we have a government managed forest and the buffer zones So you all know that what is buffer zones. So generally buffer zones, the forest that is going to surround the national park, all the reserves, isn't it? So these are the area that can become a source of supply or the production center for forestry product, or whatever with the other kind of product that you are ecosystem service, whatever the thing that you are getting from the forest itself, right? And not only that, there is some other things from the private farms that I have already explained you. We have nowadays plantation has been also carried out, but some you can say bigger farms, we have some other organizations also doing this plantation activities. So private farms also contributing in the supply of forestry product, and also non-cultivated inclusion. It means those products which are not cultivated, and basically I am talking about this, the shrub, herbs, or the NTFE and WFP, because there is no cultivation in the forest area and the things has been harvesting from there itself, right? And after that, if this is the source of supply, then you have to make certain arrangement for sustainable source, isn't it? So what are the things that need to be done there? So we have a management regime, silviculture systems has to be there, isn't certain new technology you can use it. Then certain we have to shift from the traditional way to some modern. If some technology is involved there, you can use the technology also there, right? We have to improve the management technique or the forest manager. We have to train the personnel, and through this we can make a sustainable chain of supply itself, so that we can fulfill what the three sets of needs that we have discussed that act also as a demand. So that three sets of needs need to be fulfilled there itself, right? And here again one important point that need to be, that demand and supply of forest product depend not on the biophysical factors in a different ecological region, but also on the policy regime produced and implemented by the government. There is another important factor that we need to understand for analyzing the situation of demand and supply, because the demand not only depend on the biophysical factors. Biophysical factor means the biotic and abiotic surrounding, right? That is biophysical factor. So different ecological region has their different establishment of biotic and abiotic factor there. So generally we are not supposed to concern only about those things, only those biotic abiotic factors responsible for this demand and supply, but also the demand supply has been affected by the policy regime produced and implemented by the government. So whatever the government is framing new policies or certain kind of law is there, or whatever the law houses or the parliament or even the courts of the country suggesting related to the forest or how the forest has to be managed, also this demand and supply also depend upon the other factor, that is government and government related organization. So this demand supply is depend upon two things that one need to understand. Biophysical factors obviously there, and second is the governmental factor. Governmental factor, you can also say that is the economic aspect of the country itself, right? So these are the important policies that need to understand, that are going to affect the supply and demand of forest product, right? That one need to understand here. So first, regulatory policies relevant to the forestry. As we all know that there are different policies has been implementing, and every year there are certain what I am saying, certain changes or certain modification of this current policy has been proposed there, and that also try to be implement there, isn't it? And that kind of change in policy or any improvement in policy is going to affect the supply and demand chain here itself, right? Then we have another thing that is going to have an impact on supply and demand, that is obviously this agriculture activity, right? Because of the growing population, so most of the forest has been converted into some other form of land use, and mostly in the agriculture, isn't it? So if you are losing the forest cover because of agriculture, so again there is a effect of supply and demand. But again, agriculture has been also used to generate the forestry product, as we have already studied that the windbreak, the shelter belt system is in the agroforestry system is implemented there. So obviously through this the supply and demand has to be maintained. Then mining, road construction, maintenance, hydropower, other energy related policies are also there, that is going to that is have an impact on this supply and demand of forestry product there, isn't it? Then we can have this fiscal and monetary policies. So I think I have make one mistake, that we have to correct it. It's a monetary policy, right? Not monetary, it is a monetary policy. So fiscal, that one need to understand what the meaning of fiscal, and you people already studied that. Fiscal means generally it's related to the government revenue. If you talk about the fiscal, public money, you can say that fiscal, right? So related to the government revenue, or you can say the taxes. So what is the taxation policy of country, or if there is any new changes has been there, that also is going to have an impact on production, and you can say the production and supply of this forestry product. Then you have a monetary policy. Monetary policy, I hope you people already studied somewhere what the monetary policy. So it is basically related to the currency. So these two things also have an impact on fiscal and monetary. So listen, fiscal, again I am repeating, related to the government revenue, it means certain kind of taxes, and this monetary policy, it means currency policy, right? It's also going to have an impact on the supply and demand of forest product there. Then pricing policies, obviously pricing policy is important there. How to fix a price of certain forestry product, this is another task. Either if you are a private owner or it is a public ownership there, but pricing policy there, what the price should be there on the forestry product that is available there. Then monopoly market, this is another problem, and generally in the Indian context this kind of problem we can face related to the forestry product, because most of the forest has been owned by the government. It means total supply has to be channelized by the government managed forest itself. So chance of monopoly is there. So if monopoly will be there, the pricing policy should be accordingly. So through this again there is impact on supply and demand. Then uncertainty of political environment, we can easily understand that. Uncertainty means if there is uncertainty in political environments, if the government is not stable. So if government is not stable, then government is unable to form any kind of concrete policy related to anything, whether it is a fiscal, whether it is a pricing policy, whether it is a regulatory policy. So if the government is not stable and government duration or the tenure is not certain, so since there is a policy paralysis situation will be there, and because of that there is impact on the supply and demand is there. And economic growth, that is also important. If economic growth is towards upward direction, it is going to generate more employment. More employment means more income has to be generated, and if income will be more, more purchasing power will be there, and more purchasing power means more demand, and if demand will be there, so supply has to be done accordingly, right? So these are certain policies that has to be that is going to affect the supply and demand of forest product there. So now we do the demand analysis, that I have already explained you in detail. So there's a short note has been made on that, that how the demand has a relation with that. So as I know that basically we are talking about the derived demand. Whatever the demand we're talking about related to the forestry products, all the demand is basically the derived demand, isn't it? So through this one things I like to explain you. Let me first go this, everything is written. So through this function we can understand demand analysis basically, and everything is written in a note form there. So basically demand is a function of number of household, per capita consumption, number of industries, economy of country, right? See this demand function that I have written over there is by understanding the sum of the forestry there. You can add something more here. This is not the final verdict from my side. So listen carefully, all of you, since you are the PG student. So you can also add some terms there. So this is not absolute. Whatever I have added here in the function is what I have understand that. Is it clear? So you can add something. So demand is basically function of number of household. Number of household means basically a population. What kind of population we have, right? So this is a general picture. If more population will be there, so more demand will be there, isn't it? So demand is totally depend upon the population or the size of any human settlement that is there. Is it clear? Then we can talk about the per capita consumption. So despite this the number of household we can counting, but it's still per capita consumption. It means the quantity that is each individual is going to consume, that is per capita consumption, right? So on the basis of that also, household we have certain individuals which supposed to consume that. Now what the quantity that each individual is going to consume, is it clear? That is per capita consumption. So demand is also depend upon that. Then we have numbers of industries, obviously, and here industries, talking about industries depend upon the forest for their raw material. I am talking about only those industries, not all kind of industries has to be included here. So basically industries which getting their raw material from the forest itself. So its demand is also depend upon the number of industries, and economy of the country is also one of the factor which is going to regulate the demand of forestry product there. So through this we can understand demand is a function of number of household, per capita consumption, number of industries, economy of country. But again I am making a statement that you can add some more thing there, that if you think something I have missed here, right, in the function, if you can have certain adding functions depend upon certain other factor, we can add here. Is it clear? Have you get the concept of demand function or demand analysis? Now what is the supply analysis, right? So most of the things has been already explained to you. I have already explained to you where you get the supply, collaborative forest, we have a leasehold forest, we have a community forest. These things has to be already explained to you. Here is one term that I like to explain. I'd like to make a collaborative forest. Perhaps you people have heard that, but as I think that you people have know what is community forest, you have know the leasehold forest, government managed forest, but collaborative forest, I think this kind of practice is starting in one of the states known as Sikkim. So those students from Sikkim, they can try to get the more detailed here in the basically collaborative forest. So what the meaning there is there? Collaborative means there is a working partnership, right, between all the key stakeholders. Try to understand the collaborative forest. Have you get that? It is a kind of working partnership between all the key stakeholders, right, for the management of forest. So what the key stakeholders will be there? So if there is a government, local government, civic bodies, right, NGO, so all these kind of the local you can say that is a key stakeholder. So we have to work together for managing any forest, that is collaborative forest. And I get one research paper that which shows that this kind of practice is already done in Sikkim, and they are developing one model also, so you can have a more study on that. So these are the some source of supply, buffer zone through which we are getting, and these are the source of supply for the forestry product. So again and how the supply has been channelized. So you have already studied in the forest management program that generally there is some auction process is there in we have a timber depot. It means when felling has been done, or if any kind of forest product has been harvesting, they come to certain government owned depot, and then all this selling mechanism has to be adopted, and generally the auction process has to be adopted there, isn't it, to making all these annual sales of those product there. Is it okay? And so on the basis of this concept, these are supply function is there. Again I am making a disclaimer that you can add some more factor here for the function. So supply, how they get supply is the forest area designated as a production forest, either government or privately owned, then rotation cycle, then the market demand and other factor also there, right? So through this we are able to get the supply. Fine. So after getting all this concept, so data that is required to highlight the demand and supply, so this data is going to highlight the demand and supply of forestry product, and everything has been explained in detail, right? Population, quantity demanded, number of industries, socio-economic scenarios. So whatever the function that discussion has been made, the demand function and supply function, so all this function is including these 4 factor there itself, right? Then we can have an analysis of demand and supply of forestry product there, right? And after that, based on this demand and supply analysis, there is certain suggestions that has to be there. So suggestions are simple. Policy need to be consistent, right? Policy need to be, it means what are the policies there? Policy has a proper vision what the policy suggests, right? And policy has to be implemented properly for the long time. Then transparency is there. Transparency in harvest plan and price. It means whatever the government is deciding ki, okay, this much quantity has to be harvested or this should be the price, that should be properly communicated with the stakeholders or with the whatever with the entity involved in buying and selling of forestry product there, right? Then obviously forest management need to be enhanced. It means we have to shift from the traditional method to some technological advanced method. Is it clear? Then more investment, we can understand easily. Training, obviously personal training is required there. Then use of information communication technology, ICT should be there, right? Because through this the transparency can be maintained, and not only transparency, forecasting can be also done there, and on time information can be communicated properly there. Then provision of such a market of forest product. Then this is important. Value addition is there. Value addition means you are not supposed to only generate the forest, but also you have to encourage to set up certain industries nearby the forest, or certain kind of agricultural settlement nearby the forest. So value addition has to be there itself. And finally this intensive tree plantation program, because of the population pressure, the forest cover is losing and convert and in other land use form. So now we have to maintain the forestry size. So how the things has to be there, so we have to have this plantation program, and intensive and extensive both tree plantation program has to be there itself, right? And this is the reference. If you are interested, you can go to this reference itself. Fine. And so this is all about the demand and supply of demand supply analysis of forestry product here, right?